Are Air Jordans dead, or is it just specific models that are dead? Because I see the energy change with these Chicago lows versus the Taxi 12s. Without further ado, let's jump into the shoe. Greetings, family, and welcome back to another episode of Maltao TV with your host, King Fire, aka the Fresh King. Family, today I want to talk about the Air Jordan 1 Low that released this Saturday. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of people saying that is Jordan Brand dead? Jordans are dead. It's a change of the guard. People have moved on to the Saucony, the Asics, the Brooks, and all these other type of sneakers like that. For me personally, I'm a Jordan Brand head till I'm dead. You get me? I love J's, and a lot of times I look at these newer sneakers that come out, and for me, I just can't get into them. They look wonky and wacky. They just look, I don't know, I don't like the aesthetic of them. Air Jordans, for me, I love the aesthetic of them. I'll be a liar if I told you that I'm a big fan of the Air Jordan 1 Low. Recently, they've been, tapping into my spirit a little bit. I've always wanted the Royal Lows, and I've yet to get those, but I definitely want to get those. The first pair of lows I've ever got was the Black Toe lows that released, was it early this year, last year, sometime around there? Can't remember. But yeah, those are the first lows I got. And I do enjoy them. They're cool. I just have a problem. I feel like they're better with shorts than long pants. That's just my opinion. I like wearing high tops with long pants. I don't know. Some people like wearing high tops with shorts and wearing low cut with long pants. Like some people like to do it like that. But I might be a little bit different. But I've seen something different this weekend here that I didn't see, what it was, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, when the Air Jordan 12 Taxi dropped. They sat around, and they're still sitting around on websites and stores, full-size runs. People didn't really budge on them. People didn't really bite on those too much. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. I didn't even get my pair yet because I've come to understand if a shoe going to sit around long enough to go on sale, why buy it now? But the Air Jordan Chicago Low here, I almost did the same thing, but I had put in a raffle for these at Hibbett, like almost like a week or two prior. Hibbett had raffles for these, and my raffle ended up coming through, which it never really does on Hibbett, so I was shocked about that. And yeah, I ended up getting these Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low. Chicago's being one of my favorite colorways in the Air Jordan 1s. I have many different iterations of them, so it was only right to add this one into the collection. So without all the long talking, family, let's check out these Air Jordan 1 Lows. Alright, family, here they are, the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Lows. Like I said, Air Jordan 1 Chicagos are one of my favorite colorways in the Air Jordan 1s. I've had many different iterations of these, even the ones that came out, I want to say was it 2015? It was like 2010 or 2015, somewhere around there. I can't remember if it's 2015. Might have been like, yeah, maybe like between 2010, 2015, somewhere around there, whenever those Chicago Air Jordan 1s came out with the Jumpman on them, not the Nike Air on the tag or anywhere on the shoe, just had a straight Jumpman with the terrible leather material that was on those shoes. I sold those immediately once the Chicagos came out. I had got rid of those. I think those came out before the 2015 Chicago, so those might have came out like in 2010 somewhere there, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can Google search that and correct me in the comments. But the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low right here, they're looking pretty decent. The materials look kind of decent too. I still have the stuffers in there, so I really can't see. Let me take those out. Alright, looking at the toe box on these. Get some of that spider webbing on them. Definitely doesn't feel really stiff, but it feels like thick cuts of leather are on this. I will say that. Definitely feel like thick cuts of leather. I'm hoping that these don't crease up too easily though. I'm not a cobbler or a leather craftsman or anything like that, but just from owning few pairs of shoes that I have here, over 100 pairs of sneakers, I would say that the material on these don't look bad at all. I can't really complain too much with these. And for the price, what these was, 145 somewhere around there. I mean, you know, I would have preferred 140. You know, I would have preferred 120, but you know, inflation, we can't really cry about that too much. And it was under 200. Yeah, you know, Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low, you can't go wrong with that. Nice OG vibes right here. Something I have noticed about the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low is the size of the Nike swoosh. It looks extremely huge, which is nice to me, but I want to compare it to a few other Chicago ones and see how different the swoosh has changed. The first thing I want to do is try to compare it against these lost and found Chicago ones here. Let's see if I could do that. We could just look at those two. Yeah, you even could tell like the Nike swooshes on the lost and found that have a very sharp peak, you know, and on the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low it have a more, how you want to say it, a more curved on the swoosh right there, a more smoother curve, and this one have a more sharp point on the end of the swoosh on the Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found. I do have one more to compare it to, and that's the Air Jordan 1 from 2015 right here. And to me, these are one of the best Air Jordan Chicago ones ever to release. The materials on these are so soft and so nice. This is just a beauty right here. I love these sneakers so much. I cherish them. That's why I don't really wear them too much, because the Air Jordan 1 Chicago 2015 to me is one of the best right here. Let's see what the Nike swoosh is looking like. And to me, the Nike swoosh looks bigger on the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low than the Air Jordan 1 Chicago High OG from 2015. And again, the Air Jordan 1 Low have the more curved on the swoosh, and the 2015 Air Jordan Chicago 1 High is more pointed at the edges, like the Lost and Found was kind of. But that Nike swoosh is definitely way bigger on the Air Jordan 1 Low versus the Air Jordan 1 High OG from 2015. Another quick comparison is the Chicago Air Jordan 1 versus the the Chicago Air Jordan 1 versus the Black Toe 1. Even when you look at the swooshes on these, the swoosh on the Chicago 1 is ginormous compared to the swoosh that we got on the Black Toe. And the Black Toe has that sharp peak on the edge of the swoosh, and the Chicago Low is more rounded and smooth. And yeah, I even feel like these look a little bit different from each other, and they're both lows that came out within the same time period. Is it me, or does it seem like the Black Toe have more of the retro OG high shape toe box, and the Chicago Low have more of the 85 high toe box? I don't know if it's me, family, but those toe boxes look different, and the Chicago 1 Low look more like the OG high toe box, and the Black Toe look more like your regular retro Air Jordan 1 High that we normally get. I don't have any Air Jordan OG lows to compare this to, so somebody leave it in the comment section if you know. But on these Air Jordan 1 Low Chicagos, this Air Jordan Wings is embossed in the back here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is embossed. On the Black Toe, this more look like it's printed on here. You know, this is more printed onto the back, and the reds definitely look different. I'm not sure if the OGs were like this or if this is something they just started doing, but the Chicago 1 definitely look like a better quality material than the Black Toe does when you put them side to side. Well, family, there we have it, the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low. These will be staying in the collection. These will not be a return. I think that I definitely grew into the Air Jordan 1 Lows, and these definitely came out great with great quality. Let me know in the comments below, did you pass or did you cop the Air Jordan 1 Chicago Low? Alright, family, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, peace, love, and prosperity. Ka-boom! We're gone.